96.3. We are also live on Facebook. On Facebook, we are on Asase 99.5. I personally invite you, share our page, invite a friend to tell a friend that the forum is airborne, and send me your thoughts and comments about the subjects we are discussing. I will be minded to read them and to make sure that you are a part of this conversation. Let me quickly introduce my guests who have thus far arrived. Fuseni Issa is the former member of parliament for Okankwe South. Is it South? Is it South? North. Yes, it's not South. We are sorry about that mistake, but I know it is the North. So, Fuseni Issa, former member of Parliament for Okankwe North and a member of the MPP National Communications Team. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Reverend Wilberforce. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be on your network.
Yes. I personally consider your participation on Asase Radio as extremely important. Extremely important.
It's always a pleasure to be here,
And thank you very much for coming. So we are also expecting Nikpapo Samoa Ado. Nikpapo Samoa Ado is managing partner Ado and Ado Legal Attorneys, and he's a lecturer at the Gempa Law Faculty. He's a member of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC. Okay, we are also expecting Gloria Ofori-Boadu. Gloria Ofori-Boadu is managing legal so I think she's a managing partner at GOB Law Consults, and indeed a legal practitioner. Kwame Jantua is a member of the Convention People's Party, himself a private lawyer who is no longer really practicing. Right, so these are the guests that we are going to be having. No, he said it. He says that he's no longer really practicing. So, all right. So, let's start our conversation today. Let's do with education. So, education matters, and we do know that the former president has been making certain claims, particularly about free SHS, and in recent time about the issue to do with the distribution of tablets. Miracles Abuaji, who is spokesperson for the Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia 2024 campaign, is on record to have punched various holes into the claims that were being made by the former president. I believe, Fuseni, you've been following this discourse. First of all, the politics of education. Are we at the point where we need to decide as a country that let's remove all the politics we are associating with education, because education is vital for the children of our country?
Good morning again, Reverend Wilberforce, and good morning to your listeners. I want to say a good morning again to the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, and his wife, Hajia Samira Bawumia. I believe that they have done enough to prove that when given the mantle to lead this country, he is going to take us to the next level, build upon the achievements that His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has been able to achieve for this country over the past almost 8 years. And I pray and hope and believe that come December 7th, the good people of Ghana are going to give him the mandate to lead our nation from 7th of January 2025. The issue of education, unfortunately, most of us went to school here. I was privileged, and I believe that but for education, I would not be seated here this morning. I was fortunate to have attended a school like Presec in Legon. And I recollect from 1987 to 1994, whilst I was in school, the number of my mates who intermittently during examinations will be sacked, who couldn't come to school early, and all the impediments in the process of education just because of affordability. In our time, maybe population-wise, but there were probably less than 1,500 students in Presec. Today, there are thousands of students in Presec. That makes a difference because the population is very different now. We've seen with the advent of the new educational reforms, we were in the old system with the JHS, SHS system. We've seen some advancements, we've seen some new dimensions to education in this country. And I pray and hope that we'll get to a point where, like you said, politics will be taken completely out of education, because no country and research and data shows, no country has been able to make significant efforts or progress in their development trajectory when they don't put education as a center of development in the nation. And that is exactly what His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo set out to do. And I wholeheartedly have supported this policy, and he himself has stood very firmly behind this policy over the years, and I trust that we are on the right trajectory given the outcomes that we are having or we've had in the last 7 years or so from our educational, especially at the secondary level. The issue of free SHS and its politicization, it's something that I don't know, but it's typical of our brothers on the other side, particularly the NDC. If you look at what the programs and their pronouncements, I recollect the now General Secretary of the NDC, Honorable Fifi Kwete, and the run up to 2016 elections when Nana Addo had been touting free senior high school right from 2008. He had the foresight, he had a belief that for this country to make great strides, we needed to put education as a center of our developmental programs. And he's been touting this from 2008. Run up to 2016 elections, I recollect now General Secretary of the NDC telling us that when we say free SHS, it means that all lie be lie. I don't know what he was thinking then. I don't really know what he was thinking then. I recollect, run up to 2016 elections, the same NDC people, they sponsored television ads against the free SHS policy. I recollect the former president, now flag bearer of the NDC himself, saying that the policy was not possible, and that if it was possible, then Kwame Nkrumah would have introduced it way back in the early years of our nationhood. And all of this, it sets me aback that why is he saying that because Kwame Nkrumah did not do it means that it is not feasible to be done today? It's all a plethora of inconsistency and then at one point you hear them say that, oh yes, we piloted it, or we actually started it by building e-blocks. Well, you promised us over 130 e-blocks, and you ended up with less than 30 of them. And then they will tell you that they started progressively free. What is progressively free? What is progressively free? Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was very, very emphatic on this policy, and he actually put his money where his mouth was. I recollect in September of 2017, within the first year in government, notwithstanding the challenged economy that we inherited from the NDC, this policy was so dear to the heart of the president that by September 2017, we started rolling it out. Like every policy, it is not an event. As we go, we get feedback. We put input to the feedback to ensure that the policy objectives are met. And that is what we have done with free SHS. Today, I am hearing that over 5 million students have benefited since the inception of the policy. Today, we have 1.4 million students in school, absolutely enjoying absolutely free education. Given uniforms, given food, everything is free. And if you look at the improvement in enrollment, typically we had about 800,000 students. Today we have 1.4 million. It means that access to secondary education is being improved significantly, and this is how a nation is built. It's not just limited to the secondary level. Even if you look at the pre-secondary levels, access, because of some of the policies that President Kufuor introduced, the school feeding policy and all of that, you go to certain parts of this nation and you'll be surprised at the impact of that one meal that these pupils will enjoy when they go to school, and maybe just because of those meals they go to school, and the best out of these children are brought out. This is how a nation is built. This is how this is something that the New Patriotic Party has been consistent. And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has said that it is a policy that he is also going to continue, given the chance. And I believe that, given the record that the New Patriotic Party has achieved within education, Ghanaians will give us the opportunity to continue. When you look at the free SHS and how far we have come, I have been privy at looking at some of, especially under Dr. Educhum, some of the interventions that he's brought. Today we are talking about STEM. Today we are talking about parity, where there are more female students at the secondary level than male students. When in our time it was about 63 boys in every 100. Today there are more girls in school than boys. I mean, this is the first on the African continent, and this is where we are moving education to. Education, it's the reason, and it's one of the ways by which people move out of poverty, and it is we are putting our mouth where. We are putting our money where our mouth is, and that is what we have to do to build this nation.
We get to talk about some claims that the former president made, but we have a constituency on ABC News GH. It's a television station. It's a television channel. And that constituency is extremely important. So if you are watching this program on ABC News GH, I want to thank you. I want to welcome you and to thank you very much for choosing Asase Radio and for choosing ABC News GH to patronize this program. You can send us a message. You can log on to our Facebook wall and send us a message to tell us that you are watching on ABC News, or better still, you can also send us a WhatsApp. I know we do have our WhatsApp portal, which is accessible. So yes, I would get an update on the WhatsApp number again and share it with you shortly. But those of you who are watching us on ABC News GH television channel, I sincerely welcome you, and I thank you for choosing Asase Radio and for tuning in. Okay, so as we proceed with our conversation, there is Mangos who is saying, good morning, Wilberforce. Good to have you back. Oh, Mangos, thank you for welcoming me back. The letter from the office of the president explaining the removal of DG of SSNIT is untenable and difficult to comprehend. If the president is satisfied with the performance of the then DG, and governance is about delivering results, why remove him when he has less than a year to end his tenure? Dr. Tinkran was phenomenal. Okay, so that's Mangos making a comment about the statement that I read initially. Okay, so if you are watching us on Facebook, I invite you to share our page, invite a friend to tell a friend that the forum is airborne, send us a message, share your thoughts with us. Just like I read Mangos thoughts, I would read yours. Okay, so, Fuseni, the issues about the release of tablets. The former president, John Mahama, had issue with it. He thinks that it is a bribe to bribe students who are at the voting age. And so even though he himself, during his time as president, did promise to do something of that sort, he thinks that doing it now by the NPP government is an attempt to bribe students who are ripe for elections to participate in the upcoming election.
Reverend, the former president is a walking inconsistency. There are two occasions. Parliament itself, it's a house of records, and everything you say in Parliament, I mean, in the State of the Nation address in 2016, the former president, now flag bearer of the NDC, former incoming, I'm not too sure how to describe him, did say to the nation that under his presidency, if Ghanaians gave him the opportunity, which of course Ghanaians did not give him, given his record in the run-up to 2016, he was going to ensure that we are going to move to that level, and then students in senior high schools were going to be provided with handheld devices, like we've done today. And of course, we have the video to that extent. Going forward, in their 2020 manifesto, they did make the same promise that if in the unlikely event that the Ghanaians gave them the mandate, they were going to pursue a policy akin to that. And I recollect that at a certain point under his presidency, a company, RLG, was involved in some of these things, in providing laptops and all of that. Only God knows how we ended with that policy initiative. And so for him to have turned back on his, because he got opportunity to do it as vice president, he got opportunity to do it as president, he was unable to do it. In fact, in January 2024, when the vice president and our flag bearer, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, had mentioned it, and this was ridiculing the whole policy initiative, and they were saying that it was not possible because they couldn't do it. They thought that the NPP also couldn't do it, and that has been the character of the NDC. They hardly come out with policy initiatives. What they do in elections and within campaigning is to poo-poo the policy initiatives that the New Patriotic Party brings it. And it's very obvious. Most significant policies in this country that have the opportunity to change the living standards of the people of Ghana have been proposed, implemented by the New Patriotic Party. So every time we have brought up these policy initiatives, all the NDC will do is to try to poo-poo them. But we have proven to them time and again that this is possible. Look, we are in the fourth industrial estate where data and ICT is where the whole world is moving in these days of AI, where they say before you think somebody has already thought. So the thought being the past means they are ahead of you. This is where the world is moving. We have moved from the mainframes. I recollect a couple of days ago, I was looking through my archives and I came by a disk drive, which had my longest stay in university back in the 90s, and it was quite kind of interesting how far the world has come.
Yeah,
and I
mean that this drive that they used to put in the floppy disk. Okay,
the floppy disk. I said, wow, the world has come really far.
I also have a few of them.
So the world has come really far today. The power and what my mobile phone can do, it's maybe 100 times what the initial mainframes could do. But this is where the world is going, and this is where we have to pull the young people of this country towards. Else we are going to be behind.
There's distraction in the studio. Yes, I mean, why do you walk to the studio and bring distraction? And you know him. This is battery. You see, this man is supposed to be a lawyer.
You see, I have a question for him, Rich. I have a question for him which I had planned already, so I'm going to put a question to him at some point.
Okay, so let me welcome let me welcome to the studio Nikwapo Samoa Addo. Nikwapo Samoa Addo is a member of the National Democratic Congress. He is a managing partner Addo and Addo Attorneys, and then also a lecturer at the Gimpa Law Faculty, and then also to welcome Mr. Kwame Jantua. Both of them are part of the furniture here at Asase Radio. Mr. Jantua, a member of the Convention People's Party, and also a lawyer who is no longer practicing, at least according to himself.
But where have you been? You went to the president.
Yes. No. Where did the president go? The president has not been anywhere.
Oh, he's rented.
The president has been in the country. So
you didn't go to the president.
I was on leave. No, I was on leave, which is normal in every organization.
You're going on leave. You didn't tell us. We don't deserve to know that you're going on leave.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay. So you know the Nikwapo always brings distraction.
And how come the two worked in
at the same time
together?
Only strategic move. It's the era of alliances. You know.
Alliances that are dead ab initio.
We knew you were coming on Asase. We knew you would be here, so we had the pre-meeting before coming. We allowed you to flow. So when we come, we disturb us.
All right.
So yes, this whole policy, this whole policy that the NDC, as usual, try to poo-poo, is what we are rolling out. And I believe that in this age, it is what we have to do as a nation, ensure that we bring the young people up to scratch. And I have been privileged to see one of the devices, and I mean, it's built. It's a very solid built one. It's not one of those owns that are when it hits on the floor. It is very solid. The security in features that has been put already in the tracking devices and all of that, and the plans to ensure that there is some continuous service for its usage across the country. It's all rolled out nicely, and I hope and pray. I mean, during the lunch we saw it, and simultaneously we saw what was happening within the other schools who weren't physically present at the lunch, but they were participating. And this is what a nation does. This is what a visionary leader does to ensure that education reaches everywhere and people are brought up to the times that the world is moving. Else we'll be left behind.
Okay, so interesting. And Nick Papo and Ms. Jantua, we started today's conversation with the education bit. We want to get it out of the way, then we'll focus on other matters. So Nick, say again.
Which education bit?
So the education bit has to do with, from our program today, the former president made certain claims about education. First of all, free SHS. Secondly, one student, one tablet, and then also WASSCE results. And those claims were, as it were, quote unquote, shut down by Dennis Miracles with evidence based on videos he was showing and all that. And so we're having a quick conversation about that. But let me come to you.
Take a shot at this.
Yes.
This whole issue about free SHS has to be put in proper context. And hey, greetings to our wonderful listeners, and a special birthday wish to my dear wife. Today is 53rd birthday.
Oh, really?
I'm just messing with her. I'm just messing with her.
In fact, tomorrow is my birthday.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. Oh,
Tomorrow is my birthday.
Right.
April is.
Congratulations.
Yesterday was my cousin's
Say again?
birthday.
You'll be
as well.
35.
Oh, no, I'm more than 35.
This boy is a small boy. I mean,
I'm more than 35.
but when did you finish secondary school? When did you write WASSCE? This boy is a small boy. I mean,
Go ahead.
When I finished law school, he wasn't born.
I think it
He
was
wasn't born.
2020.
But you wrote WASSCE?
2015.
Did you write
Yes,
WASSCE?
everything.
Oh, okay.
You'll be shocked to know that I'm the same age with you.
Oh, if I saw.
It makes me feel very old though.
no,
I didn't write. I didn't write
I wrote
WASSCE.
A levels and O
Yeah,
levels.
I did the O
You did
level.
O level.
Yeah.
You were in the last batch.
No, the last.
Oh, okay.
batch.
So what year
was
was
the
it?
last batch?
I wrote A level in '94.
Yes, the last
O
batch
level
was
in
95.
Yeah, the SS because of the
95 or
SS,
97?
96.
96.
Yeah, there were two badges.
a lot of us opted out of the to do the BC. I did the first one of the first conditions.
Oh, you were
BC.
the first batch.
Yes.
So,
Oh,
so
okay.
you did what, 95?
That was nice.
So then we went to university about the same year.
Okay,
nice.
you are trying to remember.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. You go ahead with your
That
comments.
just tells
and your
you that.
thoughts, yes.
It tells you that we are, as opposed to, you know. So I've always meant, yes. So as I said, happy birthday to my dear wife. The kids and I love you. 4 wonderful kids. You know, 14 years down the line, we cannot have wished for a better mother than yourself. I know she had a party. It was party yesterday. She was told she's still asleep. And the kids will surprise her with all the presents. But we appreciate you. We cherish you deeply, and we pray for God's merciful and bountiful prayers on your life. May you live to be 100 plus in good health.
Amen.
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 Amen and
Yes,
amen.
yes,
Amen.
yes. So
I
that's
have some
out of the
unfinished
way.
business with her.
Ah, okay. Yeah, she said you got in touch.
Yes.
So I know that. I'm sure she'll give you a good discount. Anyway, so on the issue of education, I keep saying that, look, give credit where credit is due. Even when with my own people, and we have fierce debates about this. The NDC went into an election saying that the free SHS could not be implemented in the manner that President Nana Addo envisaged that he would want to do it. He won the election on that, and he started it in the manner in which he said he would do. Of course, the difference was that we said we would do it progressively free. He said he would do it instantly, no discrimination whatsoever, and flow it from there. He has done it. He has done it. So you give him the credit Well, and I've said that consistently. Anywhere I speak on this free SHS issue, I make the point that was a major visionary intervention in our educational sector. And it takes a lot of political will to be able to do that, because clearly you'll be having fights with your finance minister. Any finance minister who is seeing something free will have a problem. Perhaps, of course, the funding model could have changed a bit, because if this is education is such an integral thing, I doubt whether anybody would take you up if you say you are increasing Get Fund for the purposes of funding free SHS as part of your mandate as president. So one of my biggest problems with the president is that he has been able to introduce taxes that ordinarily other governments have not been able to introduce. But the management of the resource when it is collected has been his bane. He's introduced some major tax innovations in our system. How to account for the use of those taxes have been the problem. Misplaced priorities like National Cathedral, among others. Those are some of the headaches that we've had with this president. Some of his ideas have been wonderful. One is free SHS. So you didn't even need to go into the national kitty per se, you understand, in terms of even your direct budget to be able to, you could have gone to Get Fund and made a case to Ghanaians that because part of the problems and the criticisms that have flowed after the implementation have been the lack of funding to sustain it. And I keep asking myself, why should we even have a debate about this? Why should the president put himself in a corner and suffer, even though it's such a massive and major policy intervention that has generational impact? He has boxed himself into a corner, including the Minister of Education. I get very disappointed. Why is nobody bold enough to introduce legislation in Parliament increasing the tax threshold on Get Fund for the purposes of funding free SHS, among others? The NDC did it when we were looking for money, thanks to Dr. Spio Gabra, when he was Minister for Education. He was the brain behind it with the then Nooks. He did a national conference, and that's why I keep talking for dialogue. Sometimes the brain, the solutions are not in just your head. Get Fund was a creation of a conference spearheaded by the Ministry of Education then, because we had come to a point in our educational system where we were stuck. Every year there were massive agitations by Nooks. There was always these head-on-head coalitions with government over student loans, over what have you. So we needed to think outside the box. We thought outside the box and came up with Get Fund, which was supposed to be a one-in-all solution to various educational issues. We are getting bursaries for scholarships. We are getting funding of major, and Get Fund has changed the infrastructure base of our educational system. So I'm wondering why any government would be afraid to take legislation to Parliament and say that on account of the need for extra funding for the educational sector, I am bringing a bill to Parliament to increase Get Fund. Who will oppose this? You will be crazy to oppose such an initiative. The problem has been accountability. We are seeing it in the scholarship scandal that has broken. I hope we'll have an opportunity to deal with it next week, because it wasn't part of our discussion.
Is it really a scandal?
It is a scandal. It is an outrageous scandal. Even if it has happened previously in the past, and I cannot say, because I'm sure when we go back into the if any journalist does a previous analysis, content analysis of the beneficiaries, there will be politically exposed persons an elite, societal elite, whose children have benefited from the Get Fund, even in our time.
There were about 60,000 awards.
Correct.
In terms of scholarships.
Yes.
Out of the 60,000,
you see that
20 of them were persons who are politically exposed.
In the period under consideration, there were 120,000 local scholarships.
So that one, they are deviating from the top.
You see, about 3,000.
No. I know, but I'm saying the use of the word scandal.
Oh, it is a scandal. It is a scandal. It is a scandal because some of those politically exposed persons have absolutely no moral authority and moral right to be touching our Get Fund,
even if it is for
please, people doing internships. People. I mean, come on. Listen. Right is right. Wrong is wrong. If you are capable, on what is the basis of assessment of those persons to be able to say that these persons were not capable of funding those? We'll have an opportunity to deal with it. I'm saying that. Yes, I'm saying that that Get Fund was brought about to solve major educational challenges in our system. And so I'm saying that the free SHS policy is an excellent initiative. But part of the problems it has suffered is, number one, overcrowding. There is massive overcrowding in the system. And it is taken away from the effectiveness of the teachers.
When you say overcrowded, what exactly do you mean? Are you talking about classrooms?
No, I'm talking about students being crammed in the boarding house, for example. That is a major problem. And that is some of the reasons why some children have unfortunately died as a result of this problem. Because they don't have the manpower to be able to supervise them. You should go to the Ebri Girls infirmary. It is crazy.
When you say died,
there was the young girl that died at Ebri Girls, for example. And God, my condolences to the family. It's a very painful topic to bring up. But one of the reasons was inability of the infirmary to attend to the sick child because they are overwhelmed. And I know that for a fact because there's a young girl who came to live with us briefly because she was not well. And we are close to the family, so we were able to accommodate her until she got better and then she went back. And I had a first-hand, information about the conditions in the school.
So with this child you're talking about, we do not have a record of any underlying conditions, no challenges, nothing.
This is someone who apparently was in the dorm, was not feeling well, had consistently gone to the, infirmary. The nurse keeps telling her, go back. We don't have medication. Yes, this has been a problem even when I was in Presec. But at least in Presec.
You went to Presec?
Yeah, I went to Presec.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, during our time, there was always a doctor coming in at least once a week to come and look after us.
What year did you finish? Because he also went to Presec.
I won't tell you what year I finished. Now, that's not the topic for discussion. We finished with that one.
Because in Presec, we had a bone shaker come to Achimota Hospital every day. In my time.
And even the doctor coming in.
That was once a week.
Yes.
And anything could happen.
But you see, at least the numbers. If you want to talk about, I'm saying that the initiative is good, but part of the problems we have had is the lack of funding, the availability of funds. If GET fund had been increased, if the threshold had been increased, and we have dedicated funds towards free SHS, it would have exploded. And it would have better managed some.
The president is on record.
Can I give you an example?
Yes.
Just a minute.
Yes,
Can I give you an example? When I was in Adisado, Form 2, I had cerebrospinal meningitis.
That's like 1950 or 1947.
I'm sure
1947. Yeah, 1947.
Allow Mr. Janto.
So that was Second World War.
1935.
That was
okay.
1972.
Oh, wow. You brought it forward small. It's okay.
That's what 52 years
No, that was
ago.
First World War.
My luck was that the day I had it, the visiting doctor who came every week was there.
Yeah.
And that's what saved me. And they were able to rush me to the Cape Coast Hospital almost immediately. Otherwise, cerebrospinal meningitis, you know what it does?
Yeah.
CSM.
Yeah, CSM. It would have finished.
Yeah.
So, in those days, you had medical practitioners coming into the schools to help in the infirmary. Does it happen today? Going by your point.
Yes, let's say that. You see.
So, just to make a quick point, and so that we can move on. The president is on record speaking in Addis Ababa recently during the AU summit that Ghana has committed its oil. No. Ghana has committed its AU resources, its oil resources in funding education.
I say it's misplaced. I say it's
using oil resources.
It's completely misplaced.
It's not true.
It's completely.
Why do you say it's not
It's
true?
not true. There are 4 priority areas.
He's a member of the PR.
Yeah, there are 4 priority areas in the revenue. No, I'm not in the revenue management law, where the minister has the right to choose 4 priority areas every 3 years, and health is part of it. And a certain amount of money of the oil revenue is dedicated to these 4 priority areas. When the president brought in free SHS, the first year used 90% of the oil revenue for those 4 priority areas for education. 90%. What about the other 3? So when he says it's dedicated to the oil education, he's been economical of the truth. Because I remember some of us saying, look,
how is that? I think that is even consistent.
No.
Let him finish his point.
You weren't listening to me. You weren't listening to me. He used 90% of the oil revenue that was meant for 4 priority areas for education. A certain percentage is allocated to every priority area of the 4. But you use 40%. What about the other 3? So if you say, because some of us said, look, with free education, we have not planned how this free education is going to be financed. So why don't we do what Botswana has done? They have used their gold resources specifically for education. Let's use the oil resources, at least for the first 4 years, for education, so that at least we know the funding coming in.
Uncle John,
what is he saying?
Uncle John, you know, I've called for a debate on depoliticizing the taxes in this country, the revenue mobilization in this country. We need to have that particular debate because no country has developed outside taxes. You understand? Your loans, your grants, and your taxes. And the problem has been corruption and accountability, but that's the debate for another day.
Transparency.
You see, let me just round up on this.
Yes.
So I said
as
that
you do that, there's a comment here by Baba Chairman, and you need to respond to it. So it says that NI is saying emphatically that the NDC has nothing against free SHS is a blatant lie.
Why?
We all saw the advert sponsored by the NDC.
What did I say at the beginning?
Free SHS. So let me just finish with it. So is NI suggesting that students were not dying in our secondary schools before the advent of the Nanado free SHS? That's the question that is asking.
Who is clearly not listening. He's clearly not listening to us. When we come here, we don't come and do what do you call it? Sycophantic analysis here. If you know my track record when it comes to our debates here, when A is A, A is A. I can do my politics when I want to do my politics. But when it comes to issues of education, it impacts me, it impacts everybody. You understand? I've even said that any minister of education whose child does not go to a public school does not have any moral right to be minister of education in this country. And I still maintain it. My point is that it was an excellent initiative. Have you know the debate I still the flack I still have from my own colleagues who say, why should I ever say anywhere that the free SHS idea is a good idea?
So he's saying that Baba Chairman is saying that okay, so what you are saying is your position, not the position of the NDC.
No. The position of the NDC has never been that we're against free. Listen, we went into an election saying that the implementation strategy of the MPP was not achievable in our opinion. We lost. In fact, we lost 2 elections on account of free SHS, in my opinion. The Ghanaian populace was clear. You, the political elite, don't have any business telling us that it is not doable. And so the candidate that says it is doable is the candidate we'll go along with. And Nanado has benefited for 2 elections on that. But at the same time, it doesn't preclude us from criticizing the implementation. I'm saying that if we had dedicated funds from Get Fund towards the implementation, some of the teething problems we are facing in the implementation of the free SHS will not be there. And you cannot hide your head in sand and say that there are not teething problems with the free SHS when it comes to its implementation. Availability of food, to pay money to pay the buffer stock. Call the buffer stock CEO and tell him that if he was getting money directly from Get Fund as a direct means of payment to his suppliers for the food that he supplies to the secondary schools, will he not be able to implement his part of the free SHS in terms of supply of food to the schools in time and on time? Clearly, it's all about money. The availability of furniture, the availability of textbooks, the availability of buildings. He was a former MP. I'm sure if Get Fund was having a dedicated fund for free SHS in respect of not being touched, it cannot be capped, it cannot be touched. In terms of the Get Fund, it is solely for education. He will be able to apply to the Minister of Education to solve a lot of the problems that are based on educational needs in his constituency. A lot of the MPs should be able to. In fact, the MPs, I'm sure, in the debate, will have asked for a certain fund, a part of the MPs' common fund, to be aligned to the Get Fund to allow them independently to solve some of their educational needs. So we are saying that it is not too late. The implementation has started. We are grateful to the president for being bold. It's not everybody who is, and he's benefited. That's the point. It's not for free. He has won 2 elections on account of free SHS. But as he is going, nothing. You see, that's the thing I like about the second-term president. It is time. It is the opportunity that you get to do things that ordinarily you will not do in your first term because you have no election to win. You have a legacy to protect. And if he's not done anything at all, corruption, he's failed. All other areas apart from education, we are not seeing anything. If education, he can tell the Minister of Finance, go to Parliament, get fund to be increased, and if the funding, the issues of capping, no Minister of Finance will be able to touch the get fund. That's one. Number two, increase the get fund and let us be able to now increase funding for free SHS, for basic education, and even for tertiary education.
Okay, so point well made, and I'll come to you, Mr. Jantua, so that we discuss, and then let me also welcome our only precious female guest for today, and the person of lawyer Gloria Ofori Buedu. She is managing partner at GOB Law Consult. Madam, a very good morning to you. Thank you for coming. Gradually, you are becoming a part of the furniture here at Asasi.
Well, I know my furniture and family.
Okay, so you're welcome, and I'll come to Mr. Jantua. So it's your turn to make comments about the education issues, more particularly the issues that the former president raises about one tablet, one student, the issues that he raises about the WASSCE results, and how that it gets challenged by saying that you also promised that you were going to do one tablet once. You didn't win the elections to do it. Somebody won the election and has done it, but you say the person is trying to bribe the students who are just about getting out of school. Mr. Jantua.
You pigeonhole me into a certain box, but you never pigeonholed the person who is from NDC into that box. But no problem. No problem. Madam Gloria, I just wanted to know, is Motown doing something?
After this program, I need to attend the funeral of Mrs. Hildegard Damkwa, daughter of the late JB Damkwa.
Okay.
Yeah. She was also my father's working colleague at Agric Development Bank. Okay. Very close to
and she was at Achimota School.
Yes, okay. 1961 year group.
Okay. May she rest in peace.
That's a very long time.
Yes, may she.
Yeah.
What is this thing about? Long time.
What, 1961?
Yes, so it's a long time. So
that's like 64 or so years ago.
So
that was before some of us were born.
So
it's always fascinating.
I said so.
It's always fascinating for the younger people.
You make it sound as if it's ancient of days.
It's fascinating to know that somebody was in Achimota in 1961.
Yes,
it's just fascinating.
Absolutely.
No problem.
Some were there in 1947.
We know, yes, but every time this date
may I also take this opportunity. You know, I was shocked to the core when I heard it yesterday that Mawana Trevor had passed. Shocked to the core 10 years after the brother's death. May her soul rest in perfect peace. She was a perfect lady.
Condolences to the
family. Condolences to the family. So
particularly to Professor Dumo.
Yes, Professor Dumo. He must be going through.
Surviving brother.
Yes, he must be going. They must be going through some challenges,
tough times.
Man proposes, God disposes. Now, we in the CPP cannot say free SHS is a bad thing. Never. Because we started it. We looked at the fact that
Hussein, why are you laughing?
Why
are
you laughing?
CPP started.
But it's true.
You know,
Is it
Professor
true?
A, the former president, is on record to have said that if it was possible, Nkrumah would have done it in his days. So for
done
CPP,
what in his days?
Would have implemented free SHS.
No. Done what in his days?
It would have implemented.
No,
free
he's saying
SHS.
that the former president John Mahama
it's
on
It's on
record to
record
have
to have
said
said
okay.
that if it was possible,
yeah.
Nkrumah would have done it. So suggesting that Nkrumah
actually did it.
Nkrumah started free SHS.
But the former president was suggesting that Nkrumah couldn't have done it.
That is his own.
Okay.
It's not possible.
Okay,
that was look, when you look at Nkrumah's policies, education was key in most of the things he did. Key.
Sure.
And he realized that not everybody had the ability to be able to go to school. So it was free. Cocoa scholarships came in for cocoa farmers' children. It was free. So we in the CPP can't say that President Akufo-Addo's free SHS was a bad thing. It's a good thing. The only challenge is its implementation. That has been the bane of it. And unfortunately, and maybe Hussein, you'll be able to tell me, and my dear sister will be able to tell me, when free SHS was brought in, was there a comprehensive plan of its implementation? Was there? Did we see a document that stated the plan for free SHS in terms of its financing on a continuous basis? Because free SHS is not a one-stop thing. It's a continuous policy. And if it's a continuous policy, plans should be able to be put in place how to make it sacrosanct. Wasn't it 2017 it came in? 8 years down the road. What are some of the things that have been chalked, the positive things that have been chalked, and the negative things that we see? Some of the positive things that have been chalked is the fact that quite a lot of parents today, those who can't afford, have been able to take their children to school. It's been able to somehow reduce the financial burden on some parents. However, the intricacies within that being the fact that parents have to augment their children's upkeep in the secondary in the schools. Parents have to add to it. Old school boys have to, and old school girls of schools have to add to it. Were they part and parcel of the thinking? And for me, that was where this entire thing deviated its course, because President Nana Akufo-Addo brought in his version of free SHS. Was it not a national thing? And if it was a national thing, don't you think it would have been very appropriate at the time for him to say, free SHS is something that we are going to do, whether you like it or not. However, it's a national issue. So let's all sit and take this thing on a national basis and see how best we can get it going, because it is important for the fabric of our country. Look, the best natural resource you can have in any country is your human resource. And if your human resource is not trained properly, it catches up with you at the final bit when they finish their education. Catches up with you. And it has caught up with us somehow. Because sometimes when you look at the products of free education coming out, even for work, you find that you ask yourself, when go to school? Because certain basic things.
No, that one I will comment on it. Yes. I seriously disagree with that.
We have a viewpoint. So you use your viewpoint.
So you
it's my viewpoint. That is my viewpoint. To you is wrong. To me it's right. So nobody can stop you from nobody can stop you from commenting on it.
Absolutely.
I said nobody can stop.
Okay, Mr.
I said nobody can stop you from making your point.
Go ahead, so that we can manage that time properly.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Yes. Some of the products that come out, when you even hire them, you ask yourself the question: did they go or did they come? The bulk of it, the bulk of students finishing university, created because we haven't been able to place those students, has created massive problems for this country. It's all part and parcel of implementation. It's not just giving free SHS. What is the end point of the free SHS that you've given from the beginning? When you have a child, there's a baby, isn't it? Were you not once a baby? Are you not now an adult? Do you not go through a process of growing? It's the same thing. And so it doesn't look as if we thought through effectively for the implementation of how we want this thing to end or how we want it to go. So we've been caught, especially on the financial side, because we didn't plan how we're going to finance. So take money, but we needed a set plan in place in terms of how this was going to be financed. Now, you asked me a particular question about President Mahama saying the laptops are, what do you call it, are late and all that kind of thing. Why didn't we do it before? It's not a bad idea. But why didn't we do it before? We've had problems with textbooks, isn't it? And what they are telling us now is that the textbooks are all on the tablets. No, be so? Tell me, these tablets that they say they brought out, how many has been distributed so far and to where? Are these tablets going into every nook and cranny of our education system in this country?
Yes.
Eh?
Yes.
Is it? Have they? Please, when you were talking, I was quiet.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Yes.
When you come to yours, you say your own. Is it going to every nook and cranny? Those who have been given, who out, who haven't got. Those children, who are studying under trees, are they going to get tablets? Remember, tablets are very, very sensitive. Those students who have no furniture and are lying on the floor to study, are they going to get tablets? Or do you know whether they have got tablets? You are a journalist. Do you know?
So the tablet is being distributed in phases.
In phases.
Yes.
So those, they're also part of it.
The total number of students who were being targeted, according to the numbers, is about 1,400,000.
Are those children part of it?
So, you asked me a question. I'm trying to feed you with the information I have. So there are phases, about 490,000 phase 1, another 490,000 phase 2, and another 490,000 phase 3. And so over the period between now and the end of the year, you would have been able to supply the tablets to all the 1,400,000 students who are in the secondary school level.
Is that the population of our secondary school? Is that the population?
Yeah, 1.4.
Yes.
That's the population.
Yes.
And you know that we'll create about 5,000 jobs with this policy intervention.
Yes, because of the repairs in the various after services in the districts and all that.
Permanent jobs.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Jantua.
We will create what?
Jobs.
5,000 jobs.
For maintenance people
across the country.
Not just
maintenance in the whole system.
Is it not just maintenance, but what else?
So in terms of service,
what is the plan? What is the plan?
The plan of what?
What is the plan of distributing these tablets?
No,
what is the plan?
The secretariat that is responsible has a plan.
What is it? No, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I haven't seen the plan.
I know that there's a whole department. Okay. You should say that. You should say it, please.
There's a whole department.
Within the
wait. There's a whole wait. Just a minute.
Yes.
There's a whole department.
Yes, this is responsible for the facilitating of
That is fantastic. What about the financing of making sure that these things work?
Financing?
Yes. Maintenance comes with money, doesn't it? Maintenance doesn't it come with money?
Annual budgetary allocations.
From where? From where? Annual budgetary, from where? Do we have a budget that we can finance?
It's priority.
Do we have a budget we can finance?
If you prioritize it, you do it.
To the extent that they have been able to acquire this facility,
that's the biggest.
It's not the biggest part of it.
Where did they acquire it from?
There's an indigenous company.
How much did they spend?
Kenton company.
How much did they spend?
It's all
in the
budget.
documents. Okay, so let me come to because we need to transition to the next topic.
Why are you stopping me?
Oh, I'm not stopping you. It's just 9:15, so I need to transition to the next topic.
So I should keep quiet.
No, I didn't say you should keep quiet. I'm just saying that we need to transition to the next topic. There are a few questions. There's a few comments here. Some of them targeted at Nick Paku and his comments. Some of them targeted at Mr. Jantua. So there's Baba Chairman who says that the NDC sponsored a demo against free SHS, and we captured and are captured on video singing free SHS 419. Of course, no rational human being can say free SHS has no problems, but the fact still remains that the NDC was against it, simplicity. And that's Baba Chairman again. There is Eugene Oforiata, who says that Nick Paku has shot himself on the foot. He says Nanado
in the foot, not on the foot.
So yes, he says on the foot. So sorry. So let's do the correction. So he says that Nanado has no election to go again, so he can do anything he wants to do. This applies to John Mahama, who has only one election to go. So Ghanaians, wise up. He can bring Dumso all his days in power. He can cancel free SHS. He cannot do FOCO. So please, Ghanaians, open your eyes and vote for continuity.
That's not Nanado standing. The difference is that there's a different person standing. That is true. The different person standing, not Nanado standing.
I allow people to flow, but when we are sure that is for discerning listeners, not for people who are making illogical statements.
But what he's saying is that
it is illogical.
Really?
How can somebody?
But how is the second term different from a one-term
Make sure
president?
that there is no electricity in the country. What kind of, even those who inherited excess capacity have not been able to maintain the excess capacity. How much more the person who actually solved the Dunso problem?
no, is he not saying that? He's
Don't justify his statement.
I'm not justifying.
His
I'm only
statement is illogical.
okay. that is what you. Okay, so there is George. There is George Ampofu Dodu who says that please, Wilberforce, let Mr. Jantua know that from the word go, President Akufo-Addo made clear that the funding of free SHS will come from oil resources, so that every Ghanaian will benefit from same. There was a plan, and we stopped shifting the goalposts.
Coming from oil resources, when oil resources come in and they are lower than what you expected, isn't there a break in finances?
Okay,
he never, unfortunately, for what I heard, indicated that the oil revenue is wholly going to be used for education.
Never said wholly.
Wait.
He said he was in parliament, so he can make a contribution.
Yes. If he's saying that the president said oil revenue will be used to finance free education, what part of the oil revenue?
Okay, so George comes again and says that everything. So he said every student would get a tablet at SHS. Mr. Jantua, stop your quote unquote. Well, I'm not sure you should use the word cynical, because that's so. What you're trying to say is that no SHS. So no SHS that students are sitting are lying on the floor to learn. Please spare us. So he's actually trying to say that your comment that you made, saying that some people are lying on the floor and studying, he says there's nothing like that. Please tell Mr. Jantua that the tablets are insured. And that's according to Eugene.
Who insured it?
Yes, there's
insurance.
Which company insured it? Which company insured it?
I don't know the company.
Why shouldn't we know? Is it not government property? Shouldn't it be SIC?
But that should not be.
Shouldn't it be SIC?
Let me come.
Is it SIC?
Okay, let me come.
Is it SIC?
Is a listed company.
Is it SIC? Let's know the insurance company.
SIC is a listed company.
I said which one?
Which one has promised not to hijack the program today.
SIC.
So thank you for promising not to hijack.
Tell me. This is government.
Madam Gloria,
who is insuring it?
Let's quickly pick your thoughts so that we can transition to the next topic after we hear your thoughts on education. Fuseni, I know you were writing down some things. I'll come to you to react to it quickly as Madam makes her point. So, Madam Gloria Oforibodu, we are in your hands.
I just want to say that the free SHS policy has improved the enrollment of Ghanaian students in the SHS. You know, as at 2017, when the MPP government took over, the whole enrollment from SHS 1 to, I think, 3 was about 800,000 at the time. Now with the free SHS, even 1 year, I think last year, the enrollment of those who went into SHS 1 was about almost the 800,000, which used to exist for all the 3 years. And that's very impressive. I must say that that's so impressive that the government inherited about 800,000 students in SHS 1 to 3 in 2017, and now SHS 1 enrollment alone is over 500,000. Let's comment when we need to. Of course, we can also critique when we have to, but let's comment. I think this is very impressive, and I believe that it must be sustained by every government, because I work with rural communities. In fact, I hail from a rural community, and I've realized that when you have discussions and interactions with graduates of free SHS policy, it's very impressive. And so many people now have been able to go to SHS with equal opportunities. You know, at first we had the Ivy League schools like Hachimota, where I attended, and other schools, okay? But now you can find the Ivy League schools everywhere. When I was reading the recent, what do you call it, STEM, you know, I found out that schools like Keta, Efiakobi, Manfi Girls, Jine Secondary, you know, all of them, the unnamed, the former, and they are doing so well. In fact, they are excellent. They are winning the science and maths quizzes, and they are excelling globally in robotics. I think we must commend the government and the free SHS policy. And I'll humbly say that as Ghanaians, irrespective of our party or political backgrounds or affiliations, we must encourage that the free SHS is sustained in subsequent decades. I see it also as a build-up of what President Nkrumah started with the Northern free education, right, which is still in existence for the Northern, the form of
that President John Dramani Mahama benefited from.
A form of affirmative action.
In Damascus, right?
A form of affirmative action. So that's something that this government has, built upon. And I would say that it's excellent. In fact, a Ghanaian education overall has always been perceived as excellent, because when I used to lecture full-time at GIMPA, I had students coming as far, away from Gabon, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, nearby Cote d'Ivoire, to be part of GIMPA, and they still do.
Yes.
So let's not bastardize our free SHS.
Former President
that we can even sell to the world.
Former President Mahama said that this one tablet, one student initiative was an attempt to bribe students who are of age for purposes of voting. I want your quick thoughts on that. Mr. Jantua decided not to answer that. I just want to
say that irrespective of our political affiliations and interests and agendas, let's look at Ghana. As Ghana was, I'm talking about the lady whose funeral I'm attending. She completed Achimota in 1961. She's been very productive, worked with our Great Bank and all that. Ghana started long ago, and Ghana will continue long after us. So let's look at Ghana for the future. 10 years, 20 years, 30, 40, 50, 60, when probably we are no more. I'm sure we'll be no more. 60 is too far for us. But let's look ahead. Whether we are NDC, MPP, CPP, is it CPP or PNC or which of them? CPP.
He's CPP.
Okay. Yeah. CPP, PNC.
Display mischief.
All the
display mischief.
Kuma parties.
Display mischief.
Let's look, irrespective of that, let's look at Ghana beyond 2050, okay? And let's support.
Okay. But yes. Before Fuseni comes in, as I rightly said, the free SHS policy is a good thing. But when you do it, who is supposed to make sure that the population in the schools are being catered for? Right now, the burden is more on old boys and old girls. When you come to Adisado College today, it's the old boys who have built new
Is that not a tradition?
Huh?
But should it be
so?
No, wait.
Yes.
The fact that it's a tradition doesn't mean you take advantage of it. Doesn't mean you take advantage.
It should be encouraged.
No, but
for example, you have a very strong old students association.
Wait. I'm not saying it is a bad thing, but if you are bringing a particular policy in that would increase the population in the school, what is government's commitment to making sure that there are dormitories and there are implements there for the increased students to be able to study freely? That is one of the implementation things I was talking about. That it was not catered for and it was not planned properly to be able to cater for increased populations in the schools.
I totally disagree with Mr. Jantua.
Quickly, then we can.
I totally disagree with Mr. Jantua. When I was in Presec, there were only 6 houses. 6 houses up to Labone House. And then we had some apartments, which was part of the National Science College, which have all been converted into houses. Today they have about 12 houses.
Who built them?
There's
Who built them?
Mostly by government. Really? I recollect PTA building one house or so.
There may be your school.
One house, but not mostly by Get Fund
not my school.
And all of that.
Not my school.
More classrooms have been added. No new Presec has been built.
School.
But the capacity,
you didn't want anybody
the capacity of Presec today, it's about 5 times when I was in Presec. But that is how you build, because everybody wants to go to Presec. Mr. Janto, I was talking about costing. I recollect that when the president was touting the policy of free SHS, he was asked on international media how much it was going to cost, and he said, when he comes back to his people, he was going to tell us how much. He came and he costed it. We debated it going into election 2016. So it is not, if you don't have a program, how do you cost it? How do you cost a policy? We have gone through all of this today. They are new, rising, like Madam said, Ivy League secondary schools. Hitherto, we knew the traditional ones. How come? Because today, they are getting what Presec is getting. They are getting what Achimota is getting. Students there are getting same opportunities you get if you were in Presec, if you were in Achimota, or if you were in Adisador, if you were in St. Augustine's. That is how you build a nation. Today, we are having new and emerging schools like St. James Seminary. In the last 2 years, the 3 best students in West Africa, in the entire of West Africa, 2 of them have come from St. James Seminary. Last year, there was another student from Laboni, not from Presec, not from Achimota, not from Adisado, not from St. Augustine's, because equity is being introduced into our education. A lot of people,
so don't make it look as if on those other schools they are not getting.
I mean, traditionally it was Presec,
not from this, not from this, not from
traditionally
this, because they are
Presec,
getting some from these schools
and all of that. Today we are hearing of a school like St. James Seminary.
Which is good.
Hitherto we never heard of them.
Good.
Hitherto we never heard of them. And you see, when we talk about backlog and free SHS is created, number of young people who are unemployed. Look, our population is growing at close to 2% per annum. That's the rate at which our population is growing, and we will have to contend with this. And I say every day, a carpenter or a mechanic with a senior high school education every day is most likely better than one with no education or the lower level of education,
because they appreciate the measurement.
Exactly. The carpenter who gets the opportunity to go to a CET-vet institution, he knows how to use a square. When he builds a table, it's most likely going to come out better than one who doesn't know how to use a square. That is what we are aiming at. In places like Germany, that's how they have built their system, and that is what we are trying to implement in this country. Look, a lot of people say, and free SHS, we didn't think about the outcome, we didn't think about the number of people who were going through the system. But I see, if you look at the ages where we go to school, maybe class 1 is about 6 years. You have 9 years to junior high school. If we leave the cutoff, free compulsory universal basic education, it means that people are left to go into the world to survive at age 15. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo said, let's give the young people of this country to stay in school for another 3 years. I tell you, the guy who exists at 18 years has a better probability at making it in life than one that exists in 15 years. See, issues like this whole costing, there are things that will bear with that. This is a policy, and a policy is not an event. Like I keep saying, we'll run the policy, we'll get feedback, we'll put a feedback back into the system to perfect it over time. And this system, and this policy that we have introduced in this country, if this country is going to make any major strides in our development trajectory, I think that free SHS is going to play a crucial role in the coming years. Look, when you talk about outcomes and the level of I don't know, the outputs that we have, looking at whether you look at it by subject, in 2015 the percentage pass in a subject like English language was 45.2%. In 2023 we are doing 73.11%.
Wow.
In maths, the pass mark we had in 2015 was 32.4%. In 2023 we are doing in maths 62.23%. Similar in integrated science, similar in social studies. This is how you build a system. And you see, research has also shown that whenever you have increased access mass, like we did in Ghana in 2017, ensuring that people get opportunity to go, there's most likely going to be like someone alluded to, overcrowding in classrooms and all of that. But the difference is that Ghana has defied all of that because we have done it with a lot of innovation. including those systems that we have been running.
So
the
there's no
tracks.
overcrowding in
The
classes.
tracks. There is no.
The double
In
track.
fact, under the double track, the contact hours between students and teachers is even higher than what we used to have.
You just
Those are scientific. Those are scientific. What is lying about? Those are scientific. The contact hours. How overcrowding? How overcrowding? When I went to present.
Hold on.
I am talking data. I am telling you that under the double track system, students were dying even in our time. Students were dying. It is not made to rationalize the fact that somebody will go to school and they were challenged. They were challenged. I am not saying it's perfect. I am not saying. But scientifically, the contact hours between teachers and students, it's higher than before we introduced the track system. And that's data.
You see,
that is data and that is scientific.
Mentality like this is. They don't even.
What is the mentality? I am telling you the actual bit.
That is why the president is still thinking.
Look, there is no perfect policy anywhere. There is no perfect policy anywhere. Policies will be
overcrowded.
That is why we are doing the tracking system. That is why we are doing the tracking system. We are making sure that there is access, but at the same time, the contact hours between students and teachers are even higher. Those are the realities. Those are the realities. Those are the realities of the case. Those are the realities. And today, thankfully, 1.4 million.
Keep deceiving us.
With no barriers.
Keep deceiving us.
No barriers at all. Me, I recollect when I was in secondary school.
Are you suggesting that Mr. Fuseni is deceiving you when he says that indeed 1.4 million children are in school?
Is he trying to tell us that there's no overcrowding in school? Is he trying to tell?
But I'm saying that the contact hours between teachers
1.4 million
does
not mean that their problems are there.
I am telling you
that because of
exactly. Because we were innovative.
Everything is working.
We were innovative. We didn't just the difference is that we didn't just increase access, but we increased access with innovation. With innovation.
Such jealousy.
Jealousy. So ladies,
with innovation,
problems.
We introduced the problems with innovation, and so
deal with the problem.
That although people are getting access, the quality. But I've told you, I've given you access.
Nobody has said it's a bad policy.
On the outcomes by exams.
All right,
I've given you data by implementation on exams.
Thank you. So let's.
I've given you data. I've given you data that supports what I'm saying.
Long live it. Any government that comes in.
Data that supports what I'm saying. If I didn't have any data,
so, you see, when all of us
I am not saying it perfect. There is no perfect policy anywhere.
Gentlemen and lady, when all of us are talking, nobody hears us. Patty Nate says on Facebook, I sometimes feel sad when I listen to Saturday morning radio programs. The volume of criticism one hears in his mind. One hears is mind blowing. That's what he's trying to say. Okay, so the volume of criticism one hears is mind blowing. Why, when, which, how, etc. It typifies the nature of majority of Ghanaians. Cynicism. We are more of critics than adventurers and creators.
It starts from our politicians.
Will always be static.
It starts from our politicians.
George Ampofo comes to say that free SHS is the arch hill for the NDC. It has choked them twice and it will choke them in 2024. Let's wait and see. Kojo Asempa says that I'm enjoying this powerful show from Kojo Asempa Furniture Works at Dum Kumasi. Abdul Basit Mahama, yes, the guy is here. Okay, so his messages are always longer. He says that where in the world are public high schools without these teething challenges, even after 100 years in countries we cite as a standard? Decades ago, the American formal education system was designed to meet the changing needs of the Industrial Revolution. With the current economic climate, that American
is there no
system is
crowding?
no
In my
longer
school,
able
there's
to.
crowding.
Oh, let's listen to the message. I'm sorry, gentlemen and lady, please. The lady is very quiet. She's very quiet. The gentlemen are not allowing me to host the show. I don't know why. So Abdul Basit Mohammed's message continues this way. He says decades ago, the American formal education system was designed to meet the changing needs of the Industrial Revolution. With the current economic climate, that American system is no longer able to meet modern needs. These are some of the challenges of their system. Deficit in government funding, decline in school safety, problems with the common core curriculum, decreased teacher salaries, etc. Aren't these familiar? Free SHS is a going concern. And let's not create the impression that some kind of marks should have been reached before implementation. That's definitely unscientific and a lazy man's approach. Let's not dilute the impact of the free SHS in the name of challenges which exist even in the so-called developed world. Free SHS is the most equitable distribution of resources, undoubtedly, and that's according to Muhammad Inashaman. Messages are flowing in like something. So there is Benjamin Brekum Mensah who says that, good morning, Wilberforce. Please, I just want to find out if in the sight of Mr. Jantua, if nothing good has been done by this government. All his commentary I have listened to are only negative. Please, I want to find out from him if there was anything wrong with Mohammed's promise of pilot distribution of laptops in 2016. Kwabna Opoku Edgeman says that, Wilberforce, it looks like Mr. Jantua and Nick Papo don't understand contact hours. And then Eugene comes back and says that the biggest opposition party in Ghana, Chairman Esiedun Ketia, has said he will choose literacy over free SHS. Meanwhile, his children are in Canada studying. So please, fellow Ghanaians, don't give John Mahama and his NDC the chance to come close to the throne, because he said if he has 2 billion cedis, he would never use it on free SHS education. Okay, so Gabriel also says that, Mr. Wilberforce, please try to control your panelists. We cannot hear what they are saying. Okay, Gabriel, I understand you perfectly, because when everybody is talking on this our radio station, you can't hear anything, and that's what was happening. I sincerely apologize for disturbing your ears this afternoon, or this morning, I should say. Okay, quickly, there is Kwabna Jemfi who says that Mr. Jantua is criticizing just for the sake of it. There is no perfect educational system anywhere in the world. He criticized double track and now doing 360 degrees to complain about overcrowding. Okay, Wilberforce, I was speaking with a white lecturer, and hey, Charlie, the people will not allow me to even read the messages. I consider these messages very vital. So he says that, Wilberforce, I was speaking to a white lecturer and a Nigerian, and we were discussing education. I told them Ghana is practicing free education up to secondary high level, and they were shocked. The lecturer just clapped and said, Kweku, do you know who your government, do you know what your government has done? In his words, he said the country's fortunes in 10 years would change. Let's not downplay free SHS from Aberdeen in Scotland. So this is Kweku Boache, who is in Aberdeen in Scotland. And then lastly, let me read these last two messages, and then we'll start the conversation on the other topics. So Baba Chairman says that it has always been difficult comprehending Mr. Jantua's position. He needs to understand that there is no perfect policy across the globe. In fact, even in the era of Kwame Nkrumah, there were challenges with some of the policies he introduced. Okay, so Ms. Jantua and me are on a wild goose chase as far as the free SHS is concerned. Lastly, for now, George Ampofu says that is overcrowding in our schools an issue of today, or it has always been with us. For the NDC, for the NDC, first, it will affect quality when it comes out better. They keep shifting the goalposts. It is now students dying in school. What a pity. Please. He says that because a government is determined to get its young citizens educated, Yes. So that. Let me just end it there. Okay. All right.
You see, Wilberforce, I've heard certain parents say that, oh well, I can afford to pay for my kid to go to school, so why should I go through free SHS, which has some challenges? The truth is that parent wants to pay, and will be willing to pay for Achimota, for Presec, for St. Augustine's, for Adisado. I am not sure that parent will want to pay for Brahabebome somewhere else in Ghana. You see, the equity element in our education is very relevant, and that a lot more people are getting access, and not just access, the quality is also gone up. What Ne and Mr. Jantwa, it's contact hours between teachers and students because of the innovation that we introduced, like the double track
system. Okay,
it is what is showing in the results today. And so go to schools like hitherto, who cared about schools like Sewa Pobi, where girls today are building drones and all of that. You see, then who heard about them? It's because of the equity we have today that schools like that are also coming up. And the brilliant science and math quiz, it's even becoming more difficult for me and Nee school to retain our leadership in there. But we serve a living God, and we continue to. We broke the 8 to show the new patriotic party that it is possible.
Okay, so they broke the 8 the other day. Let's transition to info analytics, and we are going to be doing the two topics together: info analytics and performance tracker. And that's because it's all about elections and what have you. So I know there are two different things, but because of time management, I'm going to be doing the two together so that we can complete the show by 11 o'clock. But quickly, you have been studying the info analytics outcome as far as the polls they conducted is concerned. I've been reading their executive summaries. I see that there's part 1 and there's part 2, but you have been studying the document. I want you to bring us and our listeners up to speed on what you make of the findings of the info analytics and whether you consider them credible. First of all, let me do that quick survey. Do you consider it to be credible, yes or no?
Oh yes, definitely.
Madam Gloria, do you consider info analytics to be credible, yes or no?
Well,
or it may be so.
No, what happened was that there were diverse findings from different regions. So I will say that if it's based on the regions, then we have to look at it critically.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
okay.
all. Diverse findings. It wasn't
credible, not credible. Maybe so.
I have a personal relationship with Mr. Dankwa. We studied together. We qualified as accountants together in London some 22 years ago. And for the person that I knew him and I know him to be, I cannot sit here to doubt the outcomes of some of his studies.
Okay, Mr. Antwa, credible, not credible?
I believe that no political party who is vying for power should play the ostrich. Any information that comes out to do with the race of an election should be taken seriously.
Okay, let's hear you on the info analytics.
So, we've all been doing a mind guessing game as to the impact of candidates and what their qualities and competencies and their backgrounds and the impact this would have potentially on the election. And we've been basing it a lot more on the past record, past elections, and how we then will try and do a projection as to what will happen. But it seems that some of our projections and analysis have been completely off the mark, And for us in the NDC, I am exceedingly happy with this particular poll because, you see, it has scientifically dealt with some misconceptions that I had when it came to the candidates like Dr. Bawumia. I thought the fact that he's a Northerner and a Muslim was going to have such a telling effect, especially up north. But I think my national communication officer and his team have done an excellent job in the past years at letting the Ghanaians see through this gimmick about I am just the vice president and not the president message that was being sold, and so I cannot be held liable for the mishaps of the administration. If you look at the issues that are of deep concern, I think one that was not captured in this poll is the LGBTI. I think they didn't do much on that, because if they did, beyond the economy, I believe that the LGBTI issue is a very, very, very touchy issue in this country. For some reason, religion defies the economic conditions of people. It's as they say, is the opium of the masses, and so it doesn't matter what the person, whether the person has eaten or not eating. Once his religious leader tells him that this is good, this is bad, he moves and swings with same. So you can see that this attempt at trying to carve a certain image for Dr. Bawumia as not being responsible for the economic woes of this country has been thrown out of the window. If you look at the first as a general poll, clearly JDM, that's John Mahama, is put at 54.3%, and if you look at Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is 34.9%. Now the key one for me is the key one for me is, well, you can laugh. I mean, I am happy that this has come early. If you look at one of the things we're all looking at was whether Alan Tremantin will have any impact in this election whatsoever. And at least with these polls, you can see an underlining 10%. I have a personal interaction with the lead researcher. I wanted some personal insight into some of the, beyond just the figures. I wanted to find out some of the trends. I look more at the trends than the figures. Greater Accra, for the first time, I think, is going to tell a different story. Because, and it goes to the issue of the age. You see, now the voting population now are no longer going to, and you see the issues are also different, because back in the day you could always go and harp on the Rawlings' excesses and why if you vote for the NDC you are voting for President Rawlings, and you are voting for PNDC, and you are voting for President Rawlings is dead. Most of the activists then are all gone. So the current young person and the Generation Z does not care about Rawlings, does not care about PNDC excesses. So it's no longer an issue or a message that you can even go and sell. The focus for the young person on the street now is how are the economic and the political policies of the government providing me with a chance of a decent meal, a decent standard of living, and an opportunity to make it in life. And so there is impatience. There is no patience for you to say that, give me a long period of time, or give me some room to come and explain to you why. No, the person is looking at his pockets. If my pocket is hit, or if I'm not able to have 3 square meals a day, if the food inflation is high, if my earning or purchasing power is low, clearly the government is not working for me. And so this poll for me is very good. For us in the NDC, it tells us that we should work hard. We should build alliances. You understand? Because I clearly can see Alan Tremantin being crucial in the Ashanti region, for example. If you want to, and if I look at his new alliance is built with this.
So that's why he's smiling at what you just said.
I'm saying I have said it on this
Mr. Abu Sakara Foster. You understand? It clearly shows that he's probably looking at being the keymaker in this election. If the NDC can build the right alliances with someone like Alan Tremantin, we probably will be able to solve one of our biggest headaches, which is the Ashanti region. He's provided us with, because if you put the Alan Tremantin vote and you added it to Dr. Bawumia, if they were on the same ticket, for example, I remember when we were here, I used to say that the biggest nightmare ticket, I think, for the NDC would be an Alan Tremantin, Bawumia Tremantin ticket. And these polls show that if they had a united front, they would have, the message, it would put Dr. Bawumia clearly over the 40%. It clearly would make his work in terms of breaching that 5% gap and things a little less difficult. Now, probably, and from the statistics that are available, he is starting at one of the lowest points any candidate has ever started from. Traditionally, the MPP person starts at 40%. He is looking at 35%. And if I speaking to the researchers, he's probably looking at a potential 2.5 million vote gap. It's going to be a shocker in this country. I speaking to him. Okay, speaking to him, I think that the MPP probably may have to go bend backwards over to get Alan Kyerematen back into their camp, because that solves for them a critical issue as to, because you see, Dr. Bawumia is a first timer. GM has not got that issue, and the enthusiasm. If you look at the base support, who are likely to vote, the NDC's hunger, the supporters' hunger is almost 96%. That gives me hope. It means that if we call the election today, the person who is likely to go to the polling station to go and vote, the NDC supporter is more likely to go. And so that again is a good trend for me as a branch chairman, for example. Then it means that what I have to do in terms of mobilizing my base, you understand, I don't probably have to do so much as to going to convince them, as to making sure that maybe I can provide them the means to get to the polling station. These are things that as branch chairman and things we are going to look at, because Greater Accra is crucial for us.
So the researchers said that they used the 2023 voters register of the EC, and their sample was 6,128. And they interviewed 5,928
I've heard people criticize the sample size.
Now, if you look at an election where you have, if you are even using the last election, out of 70 million, you had about 40 million people going to vote. If you are doing a research and your sample size is 6,128,
that is neither. He's answered that question. It's neither here nor there. Go back to the researches that are being done in the US. Look at the sample sizes. All the standard polls that are done, average 5,000, 5,500. So this issue about the sampling size, if you even look, and there is weighted. It's weighted because obviously you are looking at where if you are looking at Ashanti region, and you are looking at a particular, the constituency selections and things, where you know the person, the MPP, for example, what weight will you put on such a constituency?
So what about the party affiliations, where he says that from the people that were surveyed, 30% were people who were ordinarily affiliated to the MPP, 34% affiliated to 34.
It's even more telling
34 affiliated to the NDC.
It's even more telling for me because that was where you will see the trend of the Alan Kyerematen bite. You understand? That is where you are seeing the inroads. And look at Cheddar. Cheddar is even more surprising for me. It means that the youth are tilting. You see, it has a certain brand recognition, a certain brand. So if Alan Kyerematen is able to build that alliance, you understand, and brings on alliance with people like the CPP, for example. I'm sure he will move into the CPP area. He's looking at Abu Sakara,
including the NDC.
Oh, why not? Why not? I'm sure he will wait to the second, if there's going to be a second round. If not, he will probably still build, because you see that the ability to chip away from is two things. The ability to take votes away from the MPP is good for us.
But so if he was that strong, why does he need alliances?
No, but the point is, he's not looking. I doubt whether he, on the first try, could think that he would be able to win the elections first. No, everybody goes into an election with a certain strategy. To first and foremost to announce yourself and to make yourself a relevant force in the body politic. And if he builds alliances to grow his brand, to grow his movement. Remember that beyond John Mahama, who is the only candidate who is coming in as a former president, post John Mahama, if the vice president should lose, there's it's literally like a fresh election going to happen in 2028. So for somebody like Alan Kyerematen, he has to grow his brand. He has to grow his his image, and he cannot come and do that in the first time election and expect to get 60%, unless he's maybe, you are talking like we are in Senegal or some other country where he's a new face that is popular. No, he's building a brand, and he's a dangerous brand. He's a very dangerous brand for the MPP. So for me,
The butterfly
I
has
think that this poll at least answers some critical questions for me. One, it tells me that all the decorations and the camouflages and everything that has been put out there and has been, the man has been decorated and over decorated, it hasn't had any impact. The LGBTI issue, he went to the mosque. Are you going to deal with that?
We took that out.
Okay. So let me just let me pass it through here. His putting the LGBTQ issue, no, but he's been taken off because of the amendment with the global analytics. His putting in this LGBTI on the Ramadan day clearly was a last minute thing because he realizes that the pressure is on. John Mahama has clearly stated his position that he's against it. He now belatedly has come out to give his.
Are you trying to suggest that before Dr. Muhammadu spoke at the mosque yesterday,
of course, he hadn't stated
you would have doubted his position on
he had
LGBT.
had a golden silence. He had
no,
had
I'm not saying he might have been silent, but I'm saying that as a Muslim,
let me land. Why is it an assumption? Is it a presumption? Why
his position?
Why is it a presumption? Why is it a presumption? Why? He's a human being. He has an opinion. Please, he has come out to say that he's against e-levy. Even though he is in the government that brought e-levy. So he can have an opinion of his own.
So you envisage Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia coming to say that
it's not about me envisaging. It's about him being bold when everybody else was making the statement to make the statement. It took him forever. And now that he's made the statement, I say that it is not even up to standard. Because yes, I am against LGBT. I am calling on and I'm telling my own presidential candidate that he should go a step further. Oh, I'm rounding up. He should go a step further. He should announce that he will bring it if President Nana-Addo refuses to sign the bill. He, John Mahama, on assumption of office as president, will, as a matter of urgency, call for Parliament to reintroduce the bill, and on a certificate of urgency, he will pass it in one day and sign it the next day. That is the kind of commitment I want my presidential candidate to bring.
You haven't spoken about the tracker.
Oh, the tracker. I am coming to the tracker.
Yes.
You see, before 2020.
Hold on about the tracker. Just hold on. Okay. Let's deal with this.
Okay, all right. So then let me round up and say that. Look,
I know.
But
I've changed my mind.
Let me just round up and say
apologize for changing your mind.
Let me just round up and say this. I think that every NDC member out there should be energized by this poll. It should tell you that the message of John Mahama has gone down well with the Ghanaian. 24-hour economy. Look at the statistics. It's clear. What we need, our leader has done what he is expected of him. He has delivered on his message. We as branch members have to take the message and go to every corner of our constituencies and sell the candidate and the message. He has done his part. It is now our turn to bring the victory to the doorstep and ensure that it is an overwhelming. We don't want any control. We don't even want a distance that is allowed for them to go and be doing any challenges. We want a clear mandate. 2.5 million votes is up for the take. Wow. And we need to make sure that a message is sent. From what I gather, even Greater Accra, if they get more than 2 seats, they will be lucky.
Well, that sounds interesting. Okay, so let me come to you, madam, and to hear your thoughts about this info analysis. Just before you do that, I think Mr. Jantua must issue a disclaimer on his attempt to subtly...
Does that include Amasama, where you are branch chairman?
We will take Kwabenya as well. Mark it.
Okay, so I think
Amasama.
So there's a comment here. He says that I think Mr. Jantua must issue a disclaimer on his attempt to subtly say the product of free SHS may be substandard. It is not backed by data. I have also dealt with and still dealing with people from the old system, if you like, say pre-free SHS, who are incredibly ignorant and incompetent. If the old system of education was that great and had no issues, why is Ghana where it is today? And that's Mahama from Ashaman. So
you shouldn't put words in my mouth.
Maxwell.
No. He shouldn't put words in my mouth. I haven't here said that the free SHS is bad. I've never said that. And I was comparing it to the fact that we in the CPP were for free SHS because we brought it in.
Okay.
However, the implementation of it is where the challenge has been.
So Maxwell Appiah says that, Nikwapo, so you don't know that Mr. Jantua and his sister are already part of Afrafranto Movement Alliance. Okay, so that's Maxwell
How
asking
do you
the
know
questions. Well, and then there is, I don't see Info Analytics as a credible pollster. When did NDC win an election with a margin of 2.4 million votes? The highest in 300,000, the highest is 300,000 apart from Rollins. So the NDC can tickle themselves and laugh. I salute Nick Papo with their 24-hour confusion. Okay, and what is the margin of error of the polls? There is a world of difference. The margin of error, Basit, it's from what I saw, the margin of error as put forth by the document I see here is 1.6. Yes, so it is 1.66%. It says confidence level is 99%, which is, for me, is intriguing. And margin of error is 1.66%. So that is it for you, Basit Mahama. Okay, so let me come to you, Madam Gloria. Info Analytics.
Yes, I just looked at Info Analytics and I realized that despite all the all the findings, okay, there's some important finding that Ghanaians believe that the best person to fix the economy is, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So that's something that I believe the MPP can use to build the leverage. But as we keep saying, the majority are youth. The majority of voters are Gen Zs, millennials, those born from 1980 to 97 and beyond. So we our advice that there must be a campaign that focuses on the youthful, the young people who are always on social media and influencers and bloggers and all that. So there must be an approach by the MPP towards them, and maybe have a younger face for the campaign. Why not use Samira Bawumia for the face of the campaign instead of my good friend DMB? Just to attract the younger.
That is DMB's wife you are referring to?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the second lady, Her Excellency. I believe that there must be a look at that. And then I don't know what happened to Kennedy Ejipon, but he's also quite popular. He's able to, attract the youth. So maybe he can also play a key role in the campaign. That is for the MPP. But politics is so illogical. When you look at the campaign messages, with DMB, we keep hearing of digitalization. With JM, what is the message?
24-hour economy.
The economy. Okay. In other words, but the economy then will be working day, night, or have we factored in security, armed robbery in the night, midnight?
Everything is in the
I think you have to look at it clearly and let us really appreciate. But it's amazing, politics is something else. Someone is happy on digitalization and showing what has been done with that in the past 7 years. Another is proposing midnight employment and all that.
They say they are going to induce demand for wache at midnight, so the wache seller can also work 24 hours.
But it's amazing.
Who said that? Are you sure that somebody said that?
Demand for wache, so that the wache seller will work 24 hours. No, I have a video to that effect.
You yourself know it's a lie.
No, I have a video to that effect. I have a video to that effect.
Play the video. Give the video to the producer.
I will show you.
I haven't done
lie.
so please.
I'm surprised we just finished Ramadan and he's been lying.
What is a lie? I'll show you.
But Fuseni, are you a Muslim? You're a Muslim, okay.
Well, Ni will better explain the 24 something.
Yes.
But I think it hasn't been explained well. So when you look at the fact that despite the lack of campaign message, people are showing enthusiasm out of the 6,000 people interviewed. Then that's interesting, but that's politics.
Okay, let me come to Mr. Jantua. Then no, we go to Fuseni, and then I'll come to Mr. Jantua on Info Analytics issues. Fuseni, I know I don't know what the position of your party is as far as this Info Analytics is concerned. Tell us, are you taking the approach of treading